How's everybody doing today? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And today, what I got for everyone is my full review of the JBL E45BT. Now, real quick before I get the video started, just want to say I got a few questions saying which pair of headphones was better, the JBLs or the Hesh 2s. Now, in the interest of speed, I will be doing a separate comparison video comparing the two and then let you know which one I prefer over the other. So, y'all be on the lookout for that. But just for today, I'm just going to focus on the JBL E45BT. Just wanted to get that out the way real quick. So, jumping right in, the first thing I want to talk about with you guys is the overall build quality and design. Now, I have to say, from a build quality and design standpoint, these headphones are really good. I like the textures. I like all of the materials used. The only problem that I have with the build quality and design is the swiveling air cup design. I don't really like that. I feel like it takes away from the rigidity of the overall headphones. I feel like having the swiveling air cup makes these make that particular portion makes this a weak spot for the headphones, because I feel like that's gonna make it so these headphones may potentially break or wear out sooner. If it wasn't for that, I would have to give these headphones a top-notch rating. But because of that, and the fact that it doesn't really feel too solid because of that swivel, I have to say the build quality and design take a hit there. But other than that, the overall build quality and design of these JBL E45BT headphones is actually really, really good. Now next thing I want to talk about with you guys is the overall core features of these headphones. Now, feature number one, and what's most important to me, is that these guys feature Bluetooth connectivity. In particular, these guys have Bluetooth 4.1 technology in them. So it's not the latest and the greatest, but it's still pretty good. Number two, these guys have a built-in mic, which means that, get it in the frame, son, which means that you can make and receive phone calls. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Number three, these headphones incorporate a dual pairing feature, which means that you can pair these guys up to more than one device at a time. And I have to say, when it comes to that feature, these headphones are really, really good. I paired these guys up to multiple cell phones, my cell phone and my tablet, my computer and my tablet, my computer and my cell phone. Didn't have any issues. And pretty much when I go over the steps to pair, it's pretty much the same steps when you're setting up the dual pairing feature, except for when you set it up the first time, you turn it off on device number one, go over to the device that you want to pair up to again, pair it again, and then when you're ready, you turn on and repair both devices, and then you'll have a dual paired setup. I'm going to go over the pairing steps in a little bit. But I have to say that that was a really, really good feature. I can conveniently take phone calls and, not disturb people as long as I had my headphones on and it was connected to my devices. I can conveniently take phone calls, and it was really, really nice. So that was a really, really solid feature there. And another feature is that these guys incorporate Harman Kardon technology in them, which means that the sound quality and the volume on these guys is supposed to be really, really good. And we're going to get ready to talk about that in a little bit. But that pretty much covers the core features in these guys. Oh, and also, they do have a built-in aux jack. So, if you want to listen to a wired connection, you do have that ability there, and it does sound really, really good with the aux cable connected to my device, and that sounded really good considering that it was a gold-plated aux cable, so that was really nice. The one downside to that, however, is that the headphones need to be powered on even though you're connecting them up via the aux cable. It would have been nice if, you know, even if your battery was dead, all you had to do was plug in the aux cable and you could keep listening to your music, taking phone calls and what have you. But that's not going to work on this one. You have to have them powered on even to get the aux cable to work. And another neat thing is that the aux cable features a built-in mic with controls, so you can still do your Google Now commands and interact with your phones and devices using your voice, even with the aux cable connected. And they did have a nice feature on the aux cable where you just press and hold the button and it launches your assistant. So whether you use Cortana, whether you use Siri, whether you use Google Now, it's going to work even with the aux cable connected. And that one press and hold feature was pretty nice. So that pretty much covers all of the features on this guy. Now, moving on, the next thing I want to talk about with you guys is the overall sound quality and the volume, along with the bass and the leakage. Now, from an overall sound quality and volume perspective, I have to say that these headphones are really, really good. They are very, very, very crisp, clear, and loud on the low and the high ends. And they get really, really loud with little to no distortion on the top end. Actually, there was pretty much no distortion on the top end. Alright? So, the sound quality and the volume is really, really good, and they do get quite loud. But, here's the thing. They do not incorporate a lot of bass in here. These guys have, I believe it's 40mm drivers. And similar to the Hesh 2s, it's a very soft sound. So there's not a lot of bass to it. But it does get loud and it stays crisp and clear throughout. Next, talking about the comfort level of these headphones, I'd have to say that they're quite comfortable, but they're not as comfortable as, let's say, something like the Bluetooth headphones that I reviewed, or the Hesh 2s. I found that after about 3 to 4 hours of continuous listening, the left ear cup here got a little bit uncomfortable on my ears. And I've tried just about everything. I've readjusted them. You know, it still got uncomfortable in about that time frame. So in terms of comfort level, they're good, but they could be better. Not the best there. Now, in terms of sound leakage, I do have to say at lower volumes, there's not as much sound leakage, but at 75% to max volume, you will get a lot of sound leakage. So if you're out in public and you want to be discreet, you're going to have to turn down that volume. Otherwise, people will definitely be able to hear what you're listening to or what you're doing. So there's a lot of sound leakage with these headphones. Alright, so moving on now, the next thing I want to talk about with you guys is the overall mic quality and how good that mic actually was. Now, in terms of the mics on this pair of headphones, I have to say that it was okay. I didn't have any problems using my Google Now commands or what have you, but on phone calls, I found that I had to repeat myself an awful lot. And when I was dictating text messages, I did notice that there was a lot of errors in my dictated text messages that I had to go back and fix. So, although the mic on these headphones works, you know, if you have to take a call, just make sure you're in a decent area and be prepared because you may have to repeat yourself more than once. So, in a pinch, I guess I can say it's nice to have, but overall, I would say it's okay. It's not the best. It could definitely use a little bit of work. So, moving on now, we covered the mic quality. Next thing I want to talk about with you guys is the steps to pair. Now, keep in mind, these steps work for dual pairing as well. As I said in the beginning, you just connect one, then you turn off Bluetooth, connect the other one, then back on that first device, you turn Bluetooth back on, and you tap the headphones that you're going to see, and it's going to connect. You get an audible cue, and both devices will be paired. So let's get into this. Now, this also works on a variety of devices. The steps look a little different, but they're basically the same. So it's going to work on your Android, your iOS, your Windows device. It's going to work on your tablet, your computer, whatever, what have you. As long as the device you're trying to connect to has Bluetooth of some version, it's going to work. And keep in mind, I say some version because most majorities of Bluetooth are backwards compatible. So as long as you have Bluetooth, it should work. Now, over on the device that you're trying to connect, go in, navigate to your settings. Okay. And then you turn on Bluetooth. Now it'll automatically start searching. Alright? Now, on the headphones themselves, there's a little power toggle, and you want to toggle it up and hold it. Now you're going to get a audible cue. It's going to sound like a motorcycle revving or engine revving, and then it's going to go straight into pair mode. Now when you turn it on, you're going to get a white LED, and then when it goes into pair mode, you're going to get an audible tone, and you're going to have a blue flashing LED. So here we go. I don't know how well you heard that just now. Okay. And there you go. It's now in pair mode. You see that blue flashing light? Alright. Now, back on your device, it should still be searching if you do that quick enough. If not, you hit refresh on the device you're trying to connect. So let's go in and hit refresh. It's going to research there. And you should see, sorry, having some focusing issues, that it says JBL E45BT. So you tap that and it's going to pair. And I don't know how well you hear it, but you get a nice little audible tone letting you know that it's paired. Alright, now I just want to demo the sound leakage for you guys. So let me go ahead and find a YouTube video real quick. Something that I won't get copyright flags on. So let's see what we can find. Give me 1 second. I don't know why I didn't have this pulled up before I started the video, but it is what it is. Alright. Okay. Alright, you know what? Let me just search for something real quick. I had something I want to use, but it's taking a little bit of time to get to it. So, just gonna pick one of these. Got a bass rubber joint that I can find real fast. Alright. Let that ad play through. While that's going, to give you maximum effect here, I'm going to manually max out the volume. So you got your volume up and down keys here with your pause button in the middle. These also work to skip and next track. Alright. And then you have your pairing button right here. Now I know it's hard to see because it's black, so I apologize. So let me max out the volume. And as you can hear, you get an audible buzz letting you know it's maxed out. So that's maxed. And now, let me pause the music real quick. And let me digitally max out the volume. so y'all can hear how it sounds. Now, I know this is not the best way to do this, but it's still, trust me, I'm going to try and get it as close to my mics as possible, so you're going to be able to hear. And trust me, even though it's demonstrating the sound leakage, this is pretty much what the headphones going to sound like when they're on your head. So, alright. Max that out. Set max volume, so y'all can see. Max out here. And you can see, got some Bass Rebels, non-copyrighted music up here. And let me just do this, so later on I know what to search for when I put this in the video description. Good stuff. Alright. So we're at max volume. Now we're going to push play. Restart that. Get this to the mic.
Someday I will lose my mind. They're always wondering why it's a waste of time.
Let that beat drop.
I am trying to figure why in my heart I still feel fire. Anything that has been done to fix it, or why it takes so long. 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 So
Alright. And now that was max volume. So y'all can hear the sound leakage. Let me turn it down some. That's almost 50%. And you can still hear the leakage. So that's about 10%. And you can see the leakage is gone. So if you want to be discreet, that's about 25% right there. That's where you want to keep it. And you'll be able to hear it just fine with it on your head, but nobody else will be able to hear it around you. But if you have it at max volumes, there will be a lot of leakage there, so keep that in mind. Alright. So, quick sound demo, quick leakage demonstration for you guys. Quick steps to pair. And keep in mind, those steps to pair are the same when you're dual pairing devices. Okay? So, that pretty much covers that. Now, next. Also, when the battery on the headphones is about to die, you'll get 4 audible cues letting you know that the battery is low, and then it will cut itself off. Now, these are audible tones. It's not going to tell you battery is low. You'll get like, when you're on the computer and you click something by mistake, you get that little boom boom. You get that little sound there. That's similar sound that you'll get when the battery is running low on these. I'm going to talk about the battery life in a little bit coming up here. So that pretty much covers the steps to pair. Y'all got a little sound demonstration, and I talked about the leakage. Now let's keep it moving. Up next, I want to talk about the Bluetooth range and the Bluetooth strength. Now, the manufacturer quoted in the user manual that these guys have a range of, I think it was about 10 meters or 33 feet. I don't remember exactly. If I got that wrong, I will correct it down in the comments. But from a range and strength perspective, I'd have to say these headphones are really, really good. I had no issues as long as I was inside of the manufacturer's designated range. There was no problems. And I was actually able to stretch the range to what I feel was slightly a little bit further than what the manufacturer designated, and it still worked without issues. Now, I have a pretty big home here, and my room is in the back, and I walked all the way to the carport on the other side of the house, and it was still connected all the way up to the side door. Now, when I went through the door and stepped down into the carport, then I lost connection. And I think that that's a little bit further than 33 feet. Now, let me put that in perspective for you guys. My connected device was in here on my bed. My bed is about maybe a foot away from where I'm shooting this video here. My tripod set up in one corner. It's my little desk here. So my bed is about a foot away from where I'm shooting. And I walked all the way to the other side of the house and down into the carport, which is what I feel is a little bit more than 33 feet. And I still had connection all the way up until I walked through the door and stepped down onto the carport. I think that's about 37 feet away once you step down onto the carport. So, that being said, the fact that I was able to keep connection and still be able to listen to my music, even though I was far away, still be able to take a phone call, even though I was that far away, that means that the range and the strength on these headphones are really, really good. So no problems there. Now, moving on. Next thing I want to talk about with you guys is the durability of these headphones. Now, I've had these for almost 2 weeks, give or take a day or two, and in terms of durability, I probably say I dropped them once or twice, and they still work as if brand new. Now, keep in mind, guys, that these were not new when I got them. These were used very good, so these were not new when I got them. So even though I dropped them a couple times and they're working still as the day I got them, that means the overall durability on these headphones is actually really, really good. Now, keep in mind, as I've said with the build quality and design portion, depending on how you drop these, they do have a higher potential to break with the swiveling air cups. Because if you drop these just right, there is potential to break this portion here. That's kind of the reason why I don't like the fact that it had swiveling air cups to begin with. So, just keep that in mind. Now, as I said, I dropped these about twice, and I haven't run into any issues. And I have wood floor here, and they also dropped in the bathroom. The bathroom is tile. So those were the two drops, and I haven't had any issues. Okay? But let's just say I got lucky, because all it takes is one really good fall to break something like this, especially when it has a weak point, which is in these swiveling air cups. Now, I stress that because that's why the build quality and design took a hit. This is not too reassuring, because it did slide off my head when I was in the bathroom, and when I got up off the bed real quick, slid off my head and fell on the floor. So this is not too reassuring here. Now, once I adjusted the fit, I didn't have that problem, but you know, that's growing pains with a new device. You gotta get comfortable with it and find where it's gonna fit best. But those were my two drops, and overall, as I've said, the durability on these guys are pretty good, but you still want to be careful because the right drop can break these based on the build materials and the design. So keep that in mind. But overall, the durability on these headphones are really good. Next, let's go over the battery life and the overall charge times with these headphones. Now, let's start off with the charge times. The manufacturer stated in the user manual that these guys should take about 2 hours to reach a full charge. And then you should have about 16 hours of overall usage. Alright, so in terms of the charge times, I found that that tip was slightly off. In my particular scenarios, because I ran it to dead about 6 times, and then I ran it to where it gave me the warning tone about 3 times, and found that the overall charge times on these headphones is about 2.5 to maybe 3 hours. Now, you'll get that 2.5 mark if you plug it in right when you get the warning tone there. You'll get closer to 3 hours when you run it down to completely dead. So keep that in mind. It's going to take about 2.5 to 3 hours to reach a full charge. Now, I didn't use my fast charger or anything like that. I just used the included cables that came with the headphones and a regular charging brick. I don't remember the output on the regular charging brick, but a standard charging brick, you know. So, yeah. So, again, in my particular testing, it took anywhere from about 2.5 hours to 3 hours to reach a full charge. Now, let's talk about the overall battery life on these headphones. Now, in my particular testing, I tested the headphones at 25%, at 50%, and at 100%. And I gotta say, keep in mind, I did it the same way I demoed in this video. So the headphones themselves were physically set to max volume, and then I controlled the volume digitally using my smartphone or my tablet or my computer or what have you. So, with the headphones set to 25%, I found that I easily got through the day, and I got about 30 hours of playback listening. Keep in mind that did incorporate mixed usage. So what does mixed usage mean? That means I was listening to music, I was taking phone calls, I was browsing the web, watching music videos, watching YouTube, Pandora, so on and so forth. A lot of my battery scenarios incorporate mixed usage. I don't really believe in breaking it down into, oh, your headphones could do this much talk time and you have this much music listening time. Who does that? When you connect the headphones, at least in my opinion, you're just going to use it. And that usage incorporates everything. So when I talk about my battery stats, it is with mixed usage. So with mixed usage at 25%, I was easily able to get about 30 hours of usage. So it's going to easily get me through the day. Now, at 50% volume, using the same usage patterns, I was easily able to get about 27 hours of overall usage. And at 100% volume, which I think I made myself a little bit deaf doing this, but since there wasn't so much bass in these guys, it was actually less straining to keep these guys at 100%. So, because it's more about clarity and volume and less about bass when you talk about these headphones. So at 100% volume, I was able to get about 24 hours of overall usage. Now keep in mind, these are big in comparison to the manufacturer's quoted usage of 16 hours. I feel like they was being a little bit conservative when they put that number up. Keep in mind, those numbers are estimates. They're not exact. But keep in mind, your guys' results may vary because we all use our products and devices differently. And those battery stats are just my particular results using my particular usage patterns. So your guys' results may vary. But that's really, really good. And again, in my opinion, when we talk about overall battery life, you should easily be able to get through the day with these headphones, if not 2 days. Okay? Now, moving on, I just want to talk about some positives and some negatives of the headphones. Then we're going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about the price, and I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts and a recommendation or two. So, jumping right in, let's talk about them young positives. Now, overall, I think the build quality and design is really, really good. So that's a positive there. The fact that these guys incorporate a mic, which means you can make and receive phone calls, is really, really good. And you can interact with your assistants, whether it be Google Now, Cortana, Siri, what have you, using voice commands. That's really, really good as well. Okay, the overall volume and sound quality on these headphones is really, really good as well. And the battery life and charge times on these guys are really good as well. As I've said, you should have no problem getting through a full day on a single charge with these headphones, if not two. Alright, so that pretty much covers the positives. Now, for some negatives here. The mic quality on these headphones could use a little bit of work. As I've said, it was not the best. I found that I had to repeat myself often when I was taking phone calls and using speech-to-text commands. I found that I was making a lot of mistakes with those commands. Other than that, it was okay. So the mic quality on here could use a little bit of work. Again, another negative is the build quality portion. In particular, when we talk about the swiveling air cups, it just doesn't feel too reassuring to me, and I feel like these may break sooner rather than later based on that design. Now I'm going to update you guys in the comments over time as these headphones age. Other than that, the only other real negative here is the fact that what was I gonna say? The lack of bass on these headphones. Now I appreciate the fact that they went with clarity and volume over bass. So again, the sound quality and the volume on these is good, but they could have incorporated a little bit of bass here, just a little bit. Let me feel something. So the lack of bass was a negative here. All right. So that pretty much covers the positives and the negatives. All right. Now, moving on, let's now talk about the price, and I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts and a recommendation or two. All right. Now, I picked these guys up via Amazon. Spin this around here. Picked these guys up via Amazon, and I paid $60 for these. I found a really good deal on these. I paid $60. Now, without doing that research, these guys retail on Amazon for anywhere from about $60 to $100 brand new. All right. Keep in mind, I picked these up. These were used in very good condition. So that's a really good price. And if you pick these up brand new, it's going to run you about $100. Okay. So you guys may be wondering,